Hello, everyone. Time once again for the report of the City of Pikeville, and we're with Donovan Blackburn once again. My name is Homer Owens. I'm with East Kentucky Broadcasting, and Donovan, it's good to see you again.
Homer, it's great to be seen.
Tell us something about the Special Needs Park that just was dedicated in the last few days relative to this taping.
Well, Homer, we are extremely excited. I mean, the Hillbilly Christmas in July organization, of which Randy Jones was a major part of, he and Jimmy Kinney had this thought about bringing a group of folks together and not only constructing a park, but the original intent was to celebrate the life of all these children that go through the Shriners Hospital. You know, they go through a lot of adversity in their life. If you haven't been down to the hospital and seen all the great work that they do, it is definitely a something to put on your bucket list of things to do, because it really is heart quenching in the sense of what these children go through. And the intent behind the Christmas in July was, again, not only to celebrate a child's life, but also to bring different segments of the community together, private, business, volunteer-based, and do some good. Jimmy and Randy in the early on done a great job of raising money for the Shriners Hospital. They took another leg on and brought me into it in the second year. We created a Randy, and before his passing, and Jimmy came to me and asked me how to set up an organization.
So the premise of this is a regular playground would not meet the needs of special need children who are challenged in a variety of ways.
Absolutely, and that was the intent. Once the bylaws were set and the organization went forward, then the mission statement was selected, and the board was created. And I'm not a board member, but we participate, my wife and I, on the committees, and we of course do the Kids Day in the park each year. But because of the kids and watching the kids, one of the things that my wife Debbie and I do as part of the organization of the Kids Day in the Park is we bring in 400 to 600 kids, not just the special needs kids that go to the Shriners Hospital, but all kids we invite to the community. It's a free event to celebrate the lives of these kids that go through so much adversity. With that said, one of the first years that we held the event, seeing some of the Shriners kids come in and not being able to play on the playground in the city park struck a nerve in Randy and Jimmy. So they wanted to try to do something for the community that would do a couple of things. One, it would be give a special needs child the ability of accessing a park. You know, to your point of having a wheelchair ramp onto the park, being able for somebody on crutches to be able to get into the equipment. To a lot of the kids that are in wheelchairs, have the ability of utilizing their upper body strength and need activities to where they can use their hands and such. So the concept was to design a park, which there is none in eastern Kentucky. I think there's one in Louisville or somewhere in that area, I can't remember. But so this was the thought process, and it started early on, and so fundraising activities went forth, again using private sector fundraisers. Our legislators, Ray Jones and Senator Jones and Representative Leslie Combs and W. Keith was great. They committed $50,000 last year in coal severance for this project. Magistrate Jeff Anderson with the fiscal court came forth with $20,000, and then this board did a great job of going out and raising money. And this past Monday was the official ribbon cutting of the park. So it's opened up, and not only Homer was it to create a park where these kids can come and play, but also to create a park to where their siblings and other kids can come and play with them. What part of the social game for a child's development is allowing them to participate and to feel like that they're able to do what other kids are able to do.
It's quite a sophisticated park. It's not, let's go in and put some monkey bars in or a slide. There has to be a base, a foundation, where if a child should, in the case, fall, there will be a cushion to catch them.
The surface on this is like no surface that you'll see around. It's a great investment. Again, the organization raised over, by the time the park is finished, probably about $350,000, $400,000. Currently, it's got probably, I think, around $250,000 invested in what's up there right now. But like you say, there had to be a lot of things, and we were educated. The committees were educated from the standpoint of what what design constitutes a special needs park. And again, it's the wider ramps, it's the wheelchair accessibility, it's the way the slides are set up, it's the foam rubber padding at the bottom to catch a child so they don't hurt themselves. It's the special swings that you'll see. We just received another grant through the Kentucky Colonels Association. It's a $25,000, I think it's $22,000 or $25,000 for a new piece of equipment to where a wheelchair is accessible. It's a ship basically that kind of rocks. Real neat piece of equipment. So, and there's some plans for some additional equipment. The city still has money coming forward through coal severance that we haven't drawn down yet that we'll be doing hopefully in the next couple of months. So there'll be some additional equipment put up there. So they just completed the phase 2. There's phase 3, phase 4, right on. You know, one of the reasons that we wanted to push to do the grand opening on Monday is that Sunday previous was Randy Jones' birthday. So the intent was to have an event on Monday to invite all the folks that participated with this event and celebrate the opening, but also to celebrate somebody that was near and dear to all of our hearts and had a major play in making this happen. So with you know, Randy's heart and his love for kids, and you know, his wife Paulette was there and did a remarkable job, as she always does.
Very nice turnout, by the way.
It really was. It was very respectful, and it was a great event, and we're just absolutely tickled to death that the thing is open and now it can be utilized.
The park and the playground is functional at this point.
Absolutely, it's open. It's ready for kids.
Phase 3 will continue. I understand it's going to be a personal monument to Randy, a statue of sorts.
Well, one of the things that the organization did with the help of East Kentucky Broadcasting is, you know, we raised money in different facets. One of the ways that money was raised was the selling of these bricks, and so a lot of organizations purchased bricks that went toward, you know, and by the money that was generated from bricks paid for the playground. So the intent is that we have a monument that the city donated.
Not only organizations, but individuals. The reason I say that is I have one there.
Yes, you're absolutely right. A lot of different folks opened up their wallets and their hearts and poured money into this, and you know, it was good. It's good to have the folks that contribute's name up there to let everybody know that this project was near and dear to their hearts as well. But those bricks will be put in, the monument will be put in, the additional playground equipment will be put in. And then one thing that the city's working on, we'd have hoped to have had it completed before now, but it's in its design stage, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks we'll start. But it's the accessibility to the park. If you're there, the RV park is also there. You know, one of the things that we did with this project, Homer, is when Jimmy and Randy had came to me originally, was trying to find a location for it, and we put it in the most pristine park, great location. We wanted it to be covered with, so there would be shade. So we've got it right nestled up against the mountain, pristine beauty all around it.
Did Pikeville donate the land, the site for it?
No, actually we didn't. It flipped a little bit. What Pikeville did, the city agreed to do is we gave the Hillbilly Christmas in July the location, which the city now will maintain. So in essence, the organization purchases equipment and then grants the equipment to the city, and the city going forward will do all the maintenance, the upkeep, making sure the equipment is
nice arrangement.
Yes. So it's beneficial for both of us, because again, we have a great pristine park that can cater to, you know, again, there's over, again, I'll get the number wrong now because it's been a while, I think it's 1,150 or somewhere in that neighborhood of children within a 5 county surrounding area that currently attend the Shriners Hospital. That doesn't count all the children that have gone through it over the years. You know, it's really amazing that when my wife and I do the event, the Kids Stay in the Park, we get a listing that we send invitations out to, and it's the list that they send to us is paper literally this thick of all the children that has been treated by the Shriners Hospital, and understanding that you know, the hospital doesn't ask for any money. You know, that doesn't matter what your social level is of financial. Thank you. They take care of children. That's their business, and they do a wonderful job. And this is just one way that our community wanted, again, to give the children that have gone through these a outlet and avenue of things to do and to be able to be active. But the one thing that I started to say is that the accessibility to the park is that we'll be paving a small path that gives it a direct path, so you don't have to necessarily go through the RV park or around the soccer field. It'll be a direct path where you can park and blacktopped where you can take your child, whether in a wheelchair or on crutches, a direct path to the park. So that's our next phase for the city. But again, we've invested over $2 million. The soccer field up there was over $1 million investment for the city. The RV park was about $800,000. By the time you factor in all the other additional things that we did in the parking lot. So, and then this park's an additional, like I said, close to 300, 250 currently, but by the time it's finished, $350,000, $400,000 park. So it's a great addition to our community, and it's got economic advantages to it. I mean, people from the surrounding counties will come to our community and utilize the park for their kids, hopefully, because it's not just for Pikeville. It's for, again, the invitation is out to whomever wants to come in and around the area, and this is what the mission of the Hillbilly Christmas in July organization has done, and we're very proud to be associated with them, and I know all the legislators and those individuals, Homer, like yourself, that have pulled money out of their wallets and purses to sponsor and support these initiatives and these children has just done a wonderful thing. It's got a lot of recognition. We could do no less. Absolutely. We're
talking with Donovan Blackburn, City Manager. This is the City of Pikeville Report. I can't tell you, Donovan, how relieved I am that we started off on something positive.
Absolutely.
The last 2 or 3 programs have been full of static and noise and controversy.
Well, it's the business we're in, Homer. Anytime you're dealing with people's lives, and that's what government is, and this is the reason that I was so, it's been 5 years ago when we first started negotiating our franchise agreement. One of the things in the franchise agreement that I was very persistent with our cable companies was providing an outlet for us to do public TV. We believe wholeheartedly in transparency and getting the word out and letting people know what's going on. Anytime you're making any decision in government, you're affecting somebody's life. So, hopefully the majority of folks are happy with what you're doing, but there's times where people have a right to question, and that's the purpose of the show is to help answer those questions. So, and as you know, we keep saying this is completely unscripted. I don't want to know what you're going to ask. We want to make sure that we're covering the things that we're talking about during the commission meetings for those folks that can attend. But more importantly, the decisions that the City Commission makes and that I'm responsible for enforcing, we want to make sure that we give a full description and we're accountable to those that have elected this group that sits in the chairs behind us. So we welcome the show, and we're glad that and appreciative for all the work that you do, because as I've said before, you don't hold back.
Thank you. If I did, I may not get a check from on the Hill.
Up on the Hill.
You recently had a meeting with University of Pikeville officials. How did that go? What were some of the subjects?
Oh, this is exciting. It's an exciting time to be part of Pikeville, and not just Pikeville, but the entire region. And I'm going to get a little plug in right here, because I think we're going to hold off and you get something in your hand, because it flows into what we're getting ready to talk about. The Kentucky League of Cities puts out a publication that's called the Kentucky City Magazine. It's put out quarterly, and this quarter that was put out, there was a publication that was called Pikeville's Growth is Well Cultivated, and it's the first time that a city has been done a feature article in this publication. So the KLC came down a couple of months ago to actually write the feature article. Mm-hmm. But if you read through the article, it's a great representation of what our community is undergoing right now. And part of it is the transformation from the college into a university, the development of the hospital, the judicial center, the retail growth, all the tourism activities we have going on. I mean, Pikeville is in a blessed position. I mean, the Lord has truly blessed our community in the standpoint that we are growing like no other community in and around. And it is a tremendous blessing. And we talked about it before, Homer, that we've got the perfect storm because we've got great leadership in these various components. With, again, Mayor Frank Justice leading this commission and 4 great commissioners, Walter May with the hospital and East Kentucky Broadcasting. You've got Paul Patton, Governor Patton over the university. I mean, it's just great leadership that's got great vision, that's really working a plan. And the university is definitely being noticed nationally. Their growth over the last, since 2007, is up over 100%. And it's a good problem to have, but it's become somewhat of a problem. And I say that with love, I guess, is that we're going through some growing pains that, quite honestly, we weren't prepared for, and that we need to start planning and doing some additional planning for. And we talked about this, I think, in our last programming. But I've had numerous meetings with the vice president of the college or the university, James Hurley, And
You owe
Governor,
me $1, by the way.
I know it's another $1, which I'm collecting from some others now.
Oh,
So I've got a
well,
little
it's
bit.
a pass-through now.
But the university is growing, and currently with over 1,800 students that they have logged. And if you look back in 2000, I think it was 7, with the presentation they put on, they had a little under 1,000 students at that time. In 2014, they're projecting 2,500 students. They've got their medical school is obviously under construction right now. Once it opens, and the new announcement of the dental school, that's going to layer in another 75, I think.
Let me help you put this in perspective. Just had a report out that Kentucky's public universities and colleges are flat, with the exception of Moorhead, which has shown an 18% increase, which wowed everyone. Wow, 18%. Pikeville College has experienced over triple-digit increase, and lead all private liberal arts colleges in the state.
Absolutely, and if you look at what the strategy is, and again, I give great kudos to the governor and Mr. Hurley, because they've done a phenomenal job, and what their vision is and that was the purpose. Let me back up to the question too. The purpose, we had a special called meeting. We met with a couple of their board members, and Ryan Johns and I'm trying to think who all was there. There was quite a few. Most of the staff there from the university was there, and John Elliott, who's on their board, executive board for the college or university. It's $2, and of course the city commission was all there. And at the request of the university, they wanted to sit down and just kind of educate the commission as up to what growth that they're going through, so that we can look at our strategic planning to make sure that we're prepared to not only support their growth, but also to understand what's happening and what their vision is short-term and long-term.
And make a coherent effort.
Absolutely.
And mesh the two ideas.
Well, and if you go back to the city's comprehensive plan that we did in 2005, Homer, and the purpose for the plan is to look at what's ahead, so that we can start strategically planning and putting things into place. And we've done a great job at that. Again, over 92% of our comprehensive plan has been completed. We're getting ready to start a new comprehensive plan. But the same thing goes for the university. If we don't know what's going on, then we don't know where to put our efforts and energies into. So we've had a great dialogue with places like the hospital and the university and other professions. The legal profession with I sit on the project development board, so that's helped us kind of along the way with that planning. But the university, and sitting down with the commission, there was a couple of things that they wanted to discuss. One is, again, going back to the influx in population. Last census, in the last 10-year census, the city of Pikeville grew by a little over 10%. We took our population from 6,300 up to almost 7,000. If you look at what the university has done in the last 7 years, since 2007, the university itself has grown by 1,000 people. Or right close to 1,000 people, and by the time that they're finished, it'll be greater than that. So there's a greater demand now in the downtown area. With the Judicial Center coming on board also, with a bigger building and more traffic flow downtown with those services, one of the major things that we needed to start looking at, we needed to discuss, was parking in the way that our traffic design is. Understanding the university is X amount of buildings, and they're building a new building, but a lot of the traffic flow now is up on the hill. So the Sycamore Street is now a crossover. If you drive up on Sycamore, you've got to basically sit there for 10 minutes waiting for a time to where there's some students not crossing. So there's a safety concern up there now with the university's growth. And the university brought to the city's attention the safety concern that they have. So what they're wanting to do is to make that part of the campus, and they wanted to do basically a design. And the intent is to close off part of Sycamore. And so that through traffic isn't allowed. It's only residential traffic on the other side of the street, and that the traffic in front of the university is, again, for pedestrian walkway. And what they want to do is create a gathering place, as it was told. If you go up to the university now and you see the bridge that is over top of Kentucky Avenue, you see a lot of the students that kind of gather there. And that's I guess that's what students do at universities. There's a point in between classes or after school that all the students go to. And that's where you sit and talk and catch up and do all of your social networking. So the intent is to create that kind of area within Sycamore, and that's what they presented for us to consider, because obviously it's a city street and we would have to take.
Is there a suggestion of another entrance to Sycamore, or would it contain the same ingress and egress out the other end.
You're correct. It would be ingress, egress at the other end, like it is right now, and it has been for over the last year. You know, what we've done there the last year is we've had to close off the street for the construction of the new building. And what's happened is we've got signage up only allowing residential traffic into that area. So ingress, egress would be at one point, but again, it would be not open for everyday traffic. It would only be for residential traffic, which I'm sure the residents would be very happy with.
The student traffic from the administration building to Record Memorial, that's where the choke point is at the moment.
Yes, it is. And it will only get worse. You know, again, with understanding 1,800 folks now up there, and when you grow to 2,500 folks, it's growing pains. The other part of this that we discussed was the parking. You know, again, in 2004 when I came on board with the city in January 2004. We took over the parking garage in April 2004. Matter of fact, it was during Hillbilly days. And at that time, there was a lot of discussion amongst the community that the parking garage wasn't being utilized. People were still wanting to park close to wherever they were working or visiting. Well, now if you try to go into the parking garage, there is no parking. We've got the Hampton Inn, we've got the university. With their growth, again, I drove the parking garage again yesterday from top to bottom, not one parking place available.
They make the point we have the most beautiful parking garage building in the state.
Well, Congressman Rogers did an absolutely wonderful thing for our community and getting the congressional funds for transportation service and a parking garage with Sandy Valley Transportation located there, and also this wonderful parking garage. But again, when the parking garage was first built, there was a study done in 2002. It was a transportation study for parking for downtown Pikeville. At that time, the study showed that there was over 500, the city of Pikeville had over 500 parking places short. Now, that was before the university's growth. That was before the Expo Center was built. That was before the Hampton Inn was built. And now we have a new hotel that will start in December with the Hilton Gardens. So we've got another demand being placed on this. So we've had some discussions recently with Congressman Rogers in pursuing some assistance and hope of possibly another parking structure, but looking for some additional parking because it's going to be a problem. But the university's concerned, which leads into the next issue, is because of the lack of public housing that's available in and around the campus. You know, what housing that they do have is very minor in comparison to the student base. And the strategy that the university has used, and they've done a great job, is they want to be the university of choice for Eastern Kentucky. So, you know, they're going outreaching to all the surrounding counties, visiting those campuses, high schools, and are bringing those students to the university because, you know, as it was said, there's been a lot of, I guess, debate in the education field, and I'm obviously not a specialist in this and don't claim to be in any facet, but, you know, what's, again, either a doctoral degree or at least a 2-year degree is going to be replacing the high school diploma. You know, more and more kids are now going to universities or colleges to getting their degrees, and what the workforce is now looking at is they're not hiring in high school diploma into the upper management positions or the skilled labor positions. You know, it becomes a high school diploma then becomes basically just the
and
labor.
this is a natural progression in our technological world.
Yes. Well, you know, you look at what, again, China has done, and you know, their educational system, I'm not saying is inferior or superior or inferior in any sense, but when you look at the needs for or what the United States has to do in order to catch up and where we need to evolve into, and again, it's a national progression nationally, and you know, Eastern Kentucky is obviously no different, and we've got a great group driving this university here, and then also, again, the technical college, and Randy Roberts, and you know, they are working very well together. You come in, and it's what my kids did. You know, go to a 2-year the college, Sandy Valley, or Big Sandy, I'm sorry, and then transfer up to UPike. So it's a great feeder program from the high schools into either the university or the technical college or the community college. But with that, when you look at both the university and the college, there's a lot of need, and again, housing is a big part of that. You know, my wife has her family. She has somebody that went to U of L and decided they want to come back home. When they come back home, they live in the Phelps area, but would like their child to live in Pikeville. Well, the problem is there's very limited housing in Pikeville.
And that's a tough commute.
It is a tough commute. So we need to look at that and look at how we can develop housing. And there is some local developers that we're talking to. There's also some current local developers. Marvin Hensley's done a great job with developing property, and he's looking at other property he's developing to cater to some of the housing needs, not just for the university, but for just housing in general. The Marion's Branch property, that's why this is so important, but not just for student housing, but again, for the city.
Can you give us a quick update on Marion's Branch? I know it's gone a little bit stale, at least from a public standpoint. I don't know about insider.
It's any project in government, it just takes time, and unfortunately, with Washington in the shape that they're in financially, there's very little grant funding. We are aggressively pursuing a lot of different avenues. We're currently working on a plan. One of the things that we have to do before we can move forward with that project, Homer, is that CAM mining has the bond, or has the property bonded where they mined it. So we have to get the bonds released through the Division of Surface Mining in Frankfurt before we can even get onto the property to start any type of development. So we've had numerous meetings over the past couple of months with CAM. We've got a meeting actually this coming Monday, another meeting, follow-up meeting, and we've been in discussion with the Division of Surface Mining, because this is a great project. I think they're going to definitely fully support the property up there has been put back in a way that's just absolutely beautiful. Mike DeBourbon, who is the chairman of the airport board, did a great job in working with CAM and making sure the configuration of the property was put back in such a way that it is suitable for development. So we do have some plans that we're working on, but it's just going to take some time getting through the hurdles. Again, I said early on when we finally acquired the property, we're probably 2 years away from any type of development at all, and we're still on that track. I think we'll be fine. But the urgent need now, I mean, we do have a need for middle income housing now. There is an urgent need, but the urgent need is the reason why that we met with the university is definitely housing downtown also. One of the things that was discussed was a new program called the Scholar House, which is just an absolutely phenomenal project. And I commend Gay Newsom with the Pike County Housing Authority. Did a great job working with the university and a developer out of Louisville. And basically what the Scholar House is just to explain it, and I'll tell you a little bit about what we met about. And of course the meeting wasn't a meeting about the Scholar House, it was about the university. This was just one parking, the Sycamore part of it. There was numerous things that we covered, but the Scholar House was just one of those items. And the reason that we were involved in it is because the city actually owns the piece of property that the committee that is working with the Scholar House, and I'm on the committee, that is interested in. And
you're not ready to divulge the
property?
No,
I have no problem at all. Actually, we voted, the commission voted Monday night, contingent on some
negotiations.
Yeah, so there's some caveats that's got to be worked out, but we are moving rapidly forward with them to make this thing happen. But what the Scholar House is, again, University of Louisville has, I think, 3. UK has developed one. They're all over the state. They're in Indiana, and it's actually won a couple national awards. But the intent of the Scholar House is it creates basically public housing that's specifically designed for either a university, a college, community college, and in this case it would serve both the community college and the university. But it's specifically public housing for unwed single parents. It's a parent that had, somebody that has a child that's not married that wants to attend a university that has a good track record with their education or their grade point average through high school, but they made a bad mistake, circumstances happened, and now they have a child, and a lot of times when you look at the statistic, that holds them back from being able to go to university and get their education so they can continue to better themselves and move forward.
The capacity that I've heard is 20 students to begin?
45.
45?
Yeah, 45. How the intent is to build 45 apartments, efficiencies basically, but it would be 45 students. Now, and the way that this works is they come into the program. There's it's basically Section 8 type housing. The committee and a corporation is basically formed. They buy. The reason that the city is involved in it is because, again, the the property needs to be located in close proximity to the university or to the technical college. The intent is to give a student the ability of having everything at hand right there, so they don't have to travel. Because again, these are students that are usually in financial hardships as well. So there's actually a 10,000 square foot. It's either 10,000. Yeah, it's 10,000 square foot daycare center that's part of this project. So a student who has this child comes in. They live alone. The daycare center takes care of their child while they attend
on
classes.
The property.
On the property. Yes.
Daycare.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I think that's the U of L, and I haven't been there yet. I've seen some pictures, but some of the classes actually have windows to where, as you're in class, you can look through the window and see your child as part of daycare. So it's a great and wonderful concept. But then what happens is it allows that parent to continue their education. Once they graduate, then they're given 6 months to go from that type of housing, Section 8 housing, and move actually into housing within your community. So the benefit of this is again, it's somebody that was a good student in high school that may not have had the opportunity to further their education. So now they're able to further their education, stay in your community, and we don't have that brain drain problem that we've had over the years. And that's been part of Eastern Kentucky's problem as a whole. And what the university is now correcting is that there's been a rash of students that we travel to University of Kentucky, to Richmond, to Moorhead, Louisville, and once our students leave, they don't come home. So our best and brightest ends up leaving our community, and they contribute to Lexington's and Louisville's, so we get a major brain drain. So our true entrepreneurs or our managers, the people that should be advancing Eastern Kentucky, wasn't really necessarily afforded the opportunity, so they moved outside. Well, now with what great work that the community college and University of Pikeville is doing, and with projects such as this, it allows those folks that may have not had that opportunity to stay home, to get their education, and to hopefully migrate, or I won't say migrate, but to stay back within the community that they grew up in, contributing to that community. So it's a wonderful project. Now the intent is, the property location is you have to have a property that's large enough to put 45 structures on. So the property that the city owns across from Hardee's on Side Avenue is the premier location. So the committee had approached the city. The problem is, again, back to the city's 2005 comprehensive plan, and this is where I talk about the caveats and why we had this discussion. As part of our plan is that the boulevard is the main throughway of our community. And one of the things that we're strapped to do is to construct retail or business outlets to create a business where business drives. So that's why Texas Roadhouse is where it is. That's why we're working on a major development. Hopefully we'll be able to announce soon. That's why you've seen some growth with the Hampton Inn, the parking garage, et cetera, down the boulevard. So the intent...
Help me place this now. The site from High Street all the way through to Kentucky Avenue is owned by the city?
Yes, all that is the High Street and the housing project that was done on the Kentucky Avenue obviously was a city project. What had happened was the funding that went up and bought there was an urban rural renewal project done, and the city came in and bought out all those properties. Well, when I came on board in 2004, they had ran out of money, and the housing project was about 80% complete. It was finished up by the end of 2004.
The Kentucky Avenue
project. But as you come up to where the old High Street is, and you come down through High Street down onto to Sad Avenue, which again is where the old Episcopal Church used to be, where Dr. Shockey's office is right there in that, was there in that area. There were still 9 structures that were left there that the city did not have the money to buy. So I worked on a funding package. We were able to get the money, and we went in and bought those structures one at a time. So now we ended up with this, and they were dilapidated structures that really we weren't able to buy to finish the project to make the project look good.
This happened maybe 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, it was about 5 years ago is when we finished it. We bought the last property. So we went in and demolished the property and put the property up for sale. So the city has about a little over $1.2 million tied into the property to clean the property up. We went in and dozed the property out and marketed the property. Well, this project came along, so what the city's contribution to the project, or what the city was being asked, it was to sell the property for this to this nonprofit for this purpose of Section 8 housing for the development of what we're talking about, the Scholar House, at a reduced rate of $750,000. So the commission met with the university to discuss it for the first time this past Monday, though that they knew that it was coming. The only holdback is again based upon the city's comprehensive plan, is that property it was suitable for development for more retail space than it was for housing. So at the commission's request, what they asked is why couldn't we do both? Why can we not put retail on the bottom and then construct the apartments overhead in the daycare, of which the developer was more than pleased to say we can work that out. So we're working with them. We wanted them to secure the property. We wanted retail space in there, but we also wanted to cater to those 45 homes for this wonderful project. So I'm now in discussions with the developer. We've got a letter of intent that was approved Monday night for the sale of the property. The problem is that the funding won't be available, or the award for the funding won't be available until January, and then the sale of the property won't be until probably around May or June of next year.
When you say 45 homes, you said.
I'm sorry, apartments, efficiencies.
Similar to the row houses on the Kentucky Avenue development?
No, more like an apartment building.
Vertical.
Yeah. It'll be vertical because, again, the intent is about 10,000 square feet on the bottom floor for retail, 10,000 square feet of daycare, and then, which, by the way, they're working with the YMCA to provide the daycare. So this is really, truly a community project. Now, the committee that we talked about, what the intent is that the committee that was set up was just basically, under the definition of the program, there actually has to be a 501(c) program set up, a nonprofit. So the intent is the city to work on getting the 501(c) set up, utilizing the existing committee members that have been through this project for the last year as the oversight to the project. And then it would fall under the Pikeville Housing Authority's responsibility to maintain and to keep the project going. So there's a lot of different entities involved here, Homer, which makes it a great project. So you've got Kentucky Housing, you've got Pikeville Housing, you've got everybody from the county, the city, the ad district, Pike County Housing. There's some church organizations. I mean, it's just a lot of different groups that have came together to make this project work. So it's a neat project, and it will. Again, though, you talk about 45 students when we've got another 600 or 700 students coming. So there's still a demand and a need for additional housing, and we discussed that a little bit more so, not in depth, but during the meeting that we had Monday night. Because the intent is to possibly look at some of the other structures that we have downtown and maybe convert that to some dormitories also.
Let's change gears a second, if you don't mind. A couple of weeks ago, maybe 3, you mentioned a provocative thing that's stuck in my imagination since you first mentioned bears downtown. Is that a project that
Absolutely.
Is viable?
It is. We are just so excited. There's just so much going on, and this was, Samantha Rogers, who is my administrative assistant, but she also doubles as the director for the Artisan Center. Sam is working with the Artisan Group on a new project that we're just, again, in trying to promote arts and heritage within our downtown district, along with what we've done with the Expo Center and Main Street Live. One of the other projects we're doing is if you've been to Lexington, you saw the porcelain or ceramic horses that were there for
driving toward the finish line and located outside businesses
all over.
Yeah,
they were all painted with a different type of array painting and very artistic. So the artist group, led by Sam and Frank Dahlhair, who's the chairman of that group, we approached the university and asked if they would like to partner with the city to purchase 10, instead of horses, we're going to purchase 10 bears. These are 5-foot bears. They're white when they come in, and the intent would be for the community.
Individualize them.
Yes, and is to individualize them, to paint them up, and to have them displayed throughout our community. We
had Frank Dahlhair as a guest this morning on our show.
Well, how about that?
Yeah.
Well, Frank is wonderful to work with. Frank's, he's got this art thing to his heart. He's a long-term name in our community that's contributed for years, and it's been a blessing to work with Frank over the past several years. But I'm glad that he's in the position he is now with the artist group, and that we're working together hand in hand to really promote the downtown area and again revive the arts in our community.
Another subject, tourism.
Oh my.
And this, no. This is positive. This is totally positive.
Absolutely.
Okay. October 14th through the 16th, the Breaks Interstate Park, the Russell Fork River, has been chosen for time trials to determine the United States kayak canoe team, which will compete for the World Championship in France.
How about that?
Isn't that something?
Well, again, it goes back to show what we've been talking about, Homer, for years, but more specifically for the last year, is that with what assets that we have in Eastern Kentucky, people are just now or I won't say they're not realizing, but they're now understanding the benefits of those assets. And this is just one example of how a great God-given gift to this community is being utilized on a world level.
This is one of those events that would not only benefit the Pike County Tourism Commission, but also the Pikeville City Commission.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it's been our common theme from day one, is this is about we and not about me. You know, together we have all these assets, and working together and cataloging all these assets will bring people into our community. You know, last week we just hired Sean Cochran, who was the owner of the Cut Through Ventures. He's now come on board with the city. He's got a wonderful business plan that we're working right now to put together, working with different groups such as the Breaks Interstate Park and Elkhorn and Jenny Wiley and Stonecrest, and I can go on and on. Putting all this stuff cataloged to promote our region, and you know, our intent is to hit the ground this winter, to go to the Flatlanders, as we call them, and to try to bring in different companies that would want to have the retreats here to visit the Russell Fork or the Big Sandy, or go four-wheeling on the Hatfields, play golf at Stonecrest, to see a play with Jenny Wiley or the Artist Collaborative Theater, to visit the Grand Canyon of the South and see the gorge.
The Breaks just announced a water park to be constructed.
Well, you know, and two good friends of mine who work with the city, Jack Sykes, who's the chairman of the Breaks Interstate Park Board, and Greg May, gave me a little heads up on this. But I mean, this is again, another great project for our community that will again enhance tourism in so many different ways. I mean, the Breaks has done a wonderful job over the past couple of years, really progressing. And you know, they've revised their website. They've done so many wonderful things up there. And this is another major milestone for the Breaks and the growth. You know, my wife and I went camping earlier this year, and took my nieces. We went to Charleston, and on our way back, we stopped at the water park there outside of Logan, West Virginia, between Logan and Charleston. And you know, this is out in the boondocks. It's nowhere. If you haven't been there, it's nowhere. The place was packed. I mean, you literally wall to wall, elbow to elbow. So it's a great venue. And if you look at all the venues that's being created now, Homer, with the paintball, the RV park, the water park, the kayaking, the Artist Collaborative Theater, the new Jenny Wiley
What an
Theater.
exciting place to live in.
It's just amazing. I mean, I'm if you're not excited about what's going on, then something's wrong with you, because it's just, you know, and a lot of different people are working at a lot of different levels. We're working together really well, and tourism is going to be a major part of our industry for Eastern Kentucky.
We've got another positive thing to touch on. This program has been a good one. Pikeville Airport, the Pike County Airport. I understand that there's news that you have from there.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I just sent out the email a little while ago, so this is probably the first public announcement of it. But we received an email yesterday. As the community is aware, we have been the City of Pikeville, the Pikeville Pike County Chamber of Commerce, and the Pikeville Pike County Airport Board has been working in unison to promote and go after commercial air service. We hired a gentleman by the name of Luke Schmidt, who is a great guy out of Louisville, and that's what his specialty is to go after commercial air service. He just recently got Elizabethtown commercial air service. So again, the city and the chamber and I call them the Pikeville Pike County. They're now the Southeast Regional Chamber.
Southeast Kentucky.
Things are changing. It's hard to keep
Yes.
up with. But the announcement, as they said, drum roll please, was yesterday. We got an email that our organization the City of Pikeville applied for a $750,000 grant for community air service, and we received the announcement yesterday that we were awarded that grant. So
been approved.
We have been approved. The money is earmarked for this project to promote commercial air service. Now, there's still some work to do. We still need some additional funds that we've already been talking to our legislators on, and we still have to get the airport ready for service. So we're still probably a year away from actually having commercial air service here. But this was a major milestone, a major push. So, I mean, we're thrilled. We worked well with seeking advice through Congressman Rogers' office with Chris Gergel and with Congressman Rogers' office, and again with the hiring of Luke Schmidt. We're proud and tickled to death that our community has been awarded this grant.
Yeah, is this a first stage of the grant? Is there more to come? This would be a construction type of grant?
No, the actual grant itself is for two things. One, it's for marketing. A little bit of it is for marketing for the service, because one of the things you have to do to lure a provider into your market is they have to be able to promote it within the region. So the intent of the $750 is to do that. The other part of it is basically it's a subsidy for the service. Again, statistics show, and this is unlike this is what everybody else does in this industry, okay? Elizabethtown just did it. So what basically you have to do to get a provider in here is it takes about 2 years to get really entrenched in the market for it to be self-sustaining. So they have to have operating cost and funding to operate, because there'll be times they'll fly out with less people that it's going to take to pay for the operation of the plane. So the intent is for operational cost, the $750,000 for operational cost and marketing. The next phase of this will be, again, there's still a shortfall that we'll have to make up to meet what the provider is requiring for the 2-year commitment. And when I say 2-year commitment, I'm talking about the 2 years to get over the hump so that they can be self-sustaining. The difference in this provider versus what we've heard in the past is this is a provider that is well known. They are connected to a major airline, so instead of what was being discussed years ago was a commuter service. You get on the plane, you carry your own baggage, you go to whatever hub you're going to, then you've got to get off and you got to buy your separate ticket, you got to go through.
Much like a charter service.
That's basically what it was. This is different. This is when you go up there, you'll go through your screening. They'll take your bags. You don't see your bags until you reach your destination. You buy one ticket. It's a 32 or 36, I can't think now, remember, but passenger plane. They'll fly, the intent is to fly 2 services a day, morning and evening, to whatever hub that we finalize, and we're still working on that. But it's a major step, and the chamber, I commend Brad Hall. He's done a great job. It was one of the things that this grant had to have was community support. So the chamber got a lot of the business partners there to write letters. We got a support. I contacted Senator Paul and office, and we got a letter of support from Senator McConnell's office and Congressman Rogers' office. All supported this grant initiative, along with many businesses in and around our community. So through the letters of support, we received the $750,000 earmark for this small community air service. So there's, like I said, there's still some work to do. We're going to have to design, let TSA come in for the screening. We've also got to do some things, again, some additional funding. So, but this was a major milestone, a major step. We've got to understand, for the first time, we've got a service committed to coming to our community as long as we can get over these hurdles. One of the biggest hurdles was to get this grant. We've got it.
Is the Plainville-Pike County Airport up to snuff physically? Is there any changes? Lengthening of runways, taxiways?
That's a good question. And I'll tell you what little I know, but this is a complicated business, is what I'll tell you. And
most things are.
Bill Hickman, a great friend of mine in the airport board, and there's some great people that serve on that board up there. I mean, Bill devotes a lot of his time, personal time, to the airport because he's got a love of the airport. And they've done a remarkable job up there. There's some construction going on. They have invested in the airport is what they've done. Through the work, and I'll again give great kudos to Mike DeBourbon and the board when Mike served, because one of the things that they did was work with Cam Mining on the property that they own to generate royalties through the coal that was on the property that has allowed them to do some of these projects. So what they have done is they have created some hangars up there to bring additional planes in, which obviously pay rent. That gives them some additional funding. They've done some runway repair work up there. There's a couple of dips up there that was just announced that they're going to be closing the runway a day here and a day there to repair those dips. They've made some improvements with the electrical lighting system.
Fencing for wild animals.
Yep, they got the grant for the fence put up to keep the elk off the field. So the airport, with the landing instruments that they have up there, is suitable for this type of service. The airport itself is a great airport. It's done a lot of great work over the years. The reason that this particular air provider is so important is the particular plane that they fly is suitable for the length of runway that we have. This plane's and again, aviation's a weakness of mine. I'm learning as I'm going, but based upon the length of this runway, this plane can take off and land with in a short distance.
Full gas.
Absolutely, with no problems at all. So to have a 30-some passenger plane is a great coup, I guess, for this airport. So all these components that we've worked on for the past couple of years have really came together. And then this announcement yesterday was absolutely wonderful. So we're really excited about our progression.
Expo Center coming up October 8th. You have a sporting event that should be attractive to the public.
I'm having to look at my notes right now, Homer, because there is so many things going on. Yeah, we have a great announcement. Again, I commend Steve St. John in working with. He got a call from Jeff Shepard and the Big Blue Experience is playing. I think it's 8 different venues.
The announcement schedule is in the paper this morning.
Okay, I haven't seen that announcement. I got the announcement that I've got.
They will open up that tour, I guess it's called, in Pikeville.
To what they'll be playing U-Pike, the NAIA National. Did I get it right?
Uh-huh.
National champions. So we're going to get great talent in here. For those that, again, this is one of the benefits of having the Expo Center here. For people that would have to travel afar to see talent such as this come in, we're actually getting to see some past stars of UK, our heroes, come in and play the U-Pike, our heroes, in a great venue. This is their homecoming week, which gives it U-Pike's homecoming week, which gives it an extra flair. And it happens to also be, it fell perfectly, but it's also during our Muscle on Main event. So we're going to have an absolutely wonderful time that weekend. We got a lot of great things lined up.
Muscle on Main has turned into a wonderfully successful venture.
Absolutely. There's something going off in our, folks can't hear but going on in our background. Somebody, I think my alarm's going off. It is. But Muscle on Main has turned into a major event, not only for the community, but this time, October is the last event. We've got a new Mustang that we're going to be giving away. The burnouts are going to be done a little bit differently this time. Usually we will chalk them and they stay in place. This time we've actually made the path a little longer and we're going to let them go. So they're actually going to do burnout and let them run. This is the first time we're offering prize money. So we're actually going to have a car show with prize money. And then I'll go ahead and announce that it's not completed yet, but I feel fairly comfortable it will be. But there is I'm trying to think of what the name is. I can't remember, but there's a tribute band that's very well known that plays AC/DC music, and we've got them booked to come and have an outdoor concert during the event also. So it's going to be
in front of the Expo Center.
No, when actually I think we're going to do it. It's because I think the magnitude of the folks that are going to be showing up is going to be so great that the expo won't cover it. So they've got their own stage. They actually bring in. It's a major production. Since it's the last event of the year, we wanted to go out with a bang and have a great time with this. So this event is going to be absolutely phenomenal.
Well, our time, unfortunately, has run out again, but I'm sure you noticed that we stayed away from anything negative today, only because there was nothing negative to talk about.
Absolutely.
Because if there had been, I'm sure that you would have tackled it.
And you would have brought it up.
Yes, I would have.
Well, there's just, again, Homer, there's so many wonderful things going on in the community right now. A lot of work, hard work's going into it. And we've got many more announcements and a lot of things we'll be able to discuss into the future. But I'm just excited about what else happening.
Pikeville City, the city with an initiative a day. kicking off something,
Well,
at least one a week.
It's keeping us busy, I can assure you of that.
Okay, Donovan, always pleasure to meet with you and talk about our town.
Well, Homer, it's my pleasure too, and I look forward to our next meeting.
Thank you so much. I'm Homer Owens for East Kentucky Broadcasting. This has been the City of Pikeville Report on Pike TV.